right now, like at this exact moment, someone with maybe half your talent, right? And a fraction of your work ethic.
And honestly, an inferior product.
Yeah, exactly. An inferior product. And they are making 10 times your money. And they're doing it for one very simple reason. They know how to get eyeballs on their work, and, well, you don't.
Yeah, there is this deeply ingrained belief in our culture. It's almost like this romantic kind of toxic myth, really,
Yeah.
that if you create something truly extraordinary, the world will just automatically beat a path to your door.
Right. It's the famous lie from the movie Field of Dreams. You know the one. If you build it, they will come.
Right. But anyone who has actually ever poured their soul into a project, whether that's, a startup, a piece of art, some new software tool, they know that reality is brutally different.
Oh, absolutely. You build the most beautiful website, you launch this pristine product, you hit publish on the best piece of content you've ever made, and what happens?
Deafening silence.
Exactly. Absolute deafening silence. The traffic does not just arrive by magic. So in this deep dive, we are going to dismantle that lie permanently.
We really are.
We're exploring a genuinely revolutionary book called Traffic Secrets, the underground playbook for filling your websites and funnels with your dream customers. And that's by Russell Brunson.
And our entire mission for this deep dive is to give you concrete, actionable tools. So whether you are an entrepreneur with a business that's already running, but maybe it's plateaued, or a creator looking to finally find an audience that actually cares about your voice.
Or just someone sitting on a brilliant idea.
Exactly. An idea that desperately needs to be seen. You are going to get the exact framework from this book today. We are going to show you how to find your ideal audience, how to basically immunize yourself against those devastating social media algorithm crashes that wipe out businesses overnight, and, well, how to actually get your ideas out into the world.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll do this by giving you practical, real-world examples of how you can apply these concepts in your daily life, like starting right now, the minute you finish listening.
For sure. Our mission here is to decode the mystery of online traffic. And, I think we should set a ground rule right from the jump. When we talk about traffic today, we are not talking about numbers on a screen.
No, definitely not.
We aren't talking about cold clicks or bounce rates or like boring analytics dashboards. We were talking about human beings.
Real people.
Real people with beating hearts who have fears, desires, painful problems, and massive aspirations.
And if you build it, those people are not going to magically come to you. You have to know the psychology of how to bring them to you.
Right. And that entire process, it begins with a massive fundamental shift in mindset. Before we can even talk about driving traffic, we have to stop obsessing over the thing we're making, and we have to start obsessing over the person we are serving.
That is so true. And to really cement this, there's this story in the book about a guy named Perry Belcher that I think perfectly illustrates, like, the biggest mistake we all make.
Oh, I love that story. It completely flips the traditional business model on its head. So Perry Belcher, who is this brilliant marketer, he was in a massive boardroom meeting with the top executives of Sally Beauty Supply.
Right, which is a colossal chain of beauty stores.
Huge. And Perry had brought them what he thought was a revolutionary new product. It was a scented hand sanitizer. Keep in mind, this was at a time when all hand sanitizers basically just smelled like clinical rubbing alcohol.
Right, like an emergency room.
Yeah, exactly. So he makes his grand pitch, he passes the little product around the boardroom, and he just waits for the inevitable praise, right?
I think he hit a home run.
Oh, for sure. But the executives, they didn't ask him about profit margins. They didn't ask about distribution logistics or patent protection. The lead executive simply looked at the bottle, paused, and said, I don't know if Alexis will like this.
And Perry is totally thrown off.
Completely. He figures, okay, well, maybe hand sanitizer isn't a winner. So he pulls out his backup product, this innovative UV nail polish, and he pitches that instead.
Okay.
The executive looks at it again and says, yeah, I'm pretty sure Alexis won't like this either.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because the twist here is that Alexis wasn't like the head of purchasing. Alexis wasn't the CEO of Sally Beauty Supply sitting at the head of the table. Alexis wasn't even a real person.
Right.
Alexis was their customer avatar. She was the fictional but incredibly detailed representation of their exact perfect buyer. The executives in that boardroom, they did not run a product-centric company. They ran a customer-centric company.
Everything they did passed through that filter.
Yes, every single bottle they put on their shelves, every advertisement they ran had to pass through the filter of Alexis. They knew exactly how old she was, what magazines she read, what her fears were, how much disposable income she had, and how she made her purchasing decisions.
It's brilliant.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second though, because while that sounds like a great corporate strategy in theory, in practice, it feels a little counterintuitive to how things actually start.
Any me.
Well, don't most great businesses or movements begin precisely because the creator themselves had a problem they needed to solve? Like Nicholas Barrell says in the text, our mess becomes our message.
Oh, right.
If I start a business in my garage because I couldn't find, say, a left-handed guitar pedal that sounded right, aren't I the avatar? Doesn't that make me, the creator, the center of the business?
That is a brilliant pushback. And what's fascinating here is that it highlights a crucial evolution every successful creator has to go through.
Okay.
It is entirely true that your past self might be the origin story of the product. Your own mess, your own struggle to find that left-handed guitar pedal gave birth to the solution.
Right.
But here is the critical distinction. While your past self is the origin, your current obsession must be the customer. You have to transition out of being the hero of the story.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you are no longer the hero. You are the guide. The customer is the hero now. There is a legendary quote from the early 20th century copywriter Robert Collier that Brunson brings up.
What's the quote?
Collier said that you must enter the conversation already taking place in the customer's mind.
Enter the conversation.
Exactly. You cannot force them to care about the technical specs of your guitar pedal. You have to understand the frustration they are already feeling when they try to play a gig and their gear fails them. You have to speak to the desires they already have.
Which means entering the conversation already taking place in their mind. That requires, honestly, a terrifying level of empathy. It means you essentially have to understand their internal monologue better than they understand it themselves.
Yes. And to keep you from getting lost trying to guess what that internal monologue is, the book provides a really powerful shortcut.
Okay, I like shortcuts.
Brunson breaks it down into the 3 core desires, or the 3 core markets. He argues that absolutely every product, service, or piece of content in the world is secretly selling a result in one of 3 categories: health, wealth, or relationships.
Health, wealth, or relationships.
Yes, right. When human beings part with their money or their time at a biological level, they are doing it because they believe it will improve their physical health, increase their wealth and status, or improve their relationships and connection with others.
You know, I remember reading that and initially being skeptical. You think, well, my product doesn't fit into those. But if you drill down far enough, it always does.
Always. Give me an example.
Let's say you are selling a software tool that helps people organize their daily schedules. On the surface, you are selling productivity. But people do not inherently desire productivity just for the sake of it.
Right. Nobody wakes up wanting to be productive just to be productive.
Right. Exactly. If you keep asking why, you find the core desire. Why do they want to be productive? Because they want to finish their work faster to get a promotion. That is wealth.
Yeah.
Or because they want to leave the office at 5 p.m. so they can actually see their kids before bedtime. That is relationships.
Exactly. The software tool is just the vehicle. The actual destination the customer wants is wealth or relationships. And once you identify which of those 3 core desires your product serves, you have to answer one more psychological question.
Which is?
Is your customer trying to move away from pain, or are they trying to move toward pleasure?
Oh, interesting.
Think about a fitness program. A person who buys a diet plan because their doctor just warned them they are pre-diabetic is desperately running away from pain.
Right.
Another person might buy that exact same diet plan because they were going on a beach vacation in 2 months and they want to look incredible in a swimsuit.
Right.
They are running toward pleasure. The product is identical. The macros are identical.
But the conversation taking place in the minds of those 2 customers is completely different.
Exactly. If you sell the beach vacation fantasy to the person terrified of diabetes, you completely lose them.
So for you listening right now, before we even talk about websites or clicks, this is your first actionable step. You need to define your own Alexis today. Write down a name, and then fundamentally ask yourself, what core desire, health, wealth, or relationships does your idea actually serve?
Yeah, write that down.
And are they running from a specific pain or running toward a specific pleasure? because before we can drive traffic, we need to know exactly who the traffic is.
Right.
And once we have that picture locked in our minds, the next step is understanding how these people actually behave once they open their laptops or unlock their phones. Are they hunting or are they wandering?
To really grasp this, the book uses an evolutionary framework. Historically, if our ancestors were hungry, they experienced a specific pain. They had a singular need, so they grabbed a spear, went out into the woods, and hunted for food.
It was a highly specific, urgent intention.
Exactly. On the flip side, sometimes they were just wandering around, gathering, seeing what was out there. The modern internet has perfectly replicated this duality. It divides human online behavior into two distinct buckets: search-based traffic and interruption-based traffic.
Let's look at search-based traffic first. This is the hunter mindset. Think about Google or YouTube. People using these platforms are experiencing a pain or they have a very specific burning question. They are actively typing a query into a search bar. It is entirely intent-driven.
Yeah, they know what they want.
The classic analogy here is the burst pipe. Imagine it is a Tuesday night, a pipe bursts in your kitchen, and water is flooding your hardwood floors. You are panicking.
Total nightmare.
Total nightmare. You are not going to sit on the couch and wait for a plumbing ad to magically appear on your television. You pull out your phone, you open Google, and you frantically type, "emergency plumber near me."
Right.
You are what marketers call hot traffic. You have extremely high intent, and you are ready to pull out your credit card and buy right this second because you need the pain to stop.
This raises an important question, though. If search traffic is so hot and ready to buy, why isn't everyone just focusing their entire business on search?
Right.
The answer lies in the pros and cons of the platform. The pro is obvious. The customer is practically begging for a solution. The con is that every single plumber in your city knows this.
Oh, yeah.
Therefore, search engines become what business strategists call a red ocean. It is blood-filled water. It is highly competitive, deeply saturated, and incredibly expensive. You are bidding against massive corporations who have deep pockets for those exact same keywords.
Which brings us to the second bucket, interruption-based traffic. This is your Facebook, your Instagram, your TikTok. When people open these apps, they are not in the hunter mindset. They are not looking to buy a solution.
No, they're bored.
Exactly. They're bored. They're sitting on the train or waiting in line for coffee, and they are scrolling to be entertained. They want to see what their friends are doing or watch a funny video. They are wandering.
And because they're wandering, the strategy to capture them has to be entirely different. They're not typing in a search query, so you cannot just wait for them to find you. You have to interrupt their pattern.
Interrupt the scroll.
The crow of interruption traffic is that it is infinitely abundant. There are billions of people scrolling every day, and because the intent to buy is lower, the cost to reach them is generally much, much cheaper than search traffic.
Right.
The con, however, is that it requires you to be an absolute master of human psychology. You have to grab their attention when they don't want to give it to you. You have to introduce a problem they might not have even realized they had, and then present your product as the solution.
The best way I can think of to describe interruption traffic is the lazy Sunday infomercial. Imagine you are lying on the couch on a Sunday afternoon. You are completely relaxed, just flipping through channels out of sheer boredom.
The classic Sunday slump.
Right. Suddenly, you land on an infomercial where a guy is enthusiastically demonstrating a kitchen gadget that chops vegetables perfectly in half a second. Now, when you woke up that morning, you were not thinking, I really need a faster way to chop onions.
Definitely not.
You had zero intent to buy kitchenware, but they interrupted your boredom with a fascinating visual demonstration. They told you a story about how much time you were wasting in the kitchen. And suddenly, 15 minutes later, you are dialing an 800 number with your credit card in hand.
That is the perfect encapsulation of the interruption model.
Yeah.
You manufacture desire out of thin air. So if we understand these two behaviors, the searchers hunting on Google and the scrollers wandering on Facebook, the massive million-dollar question becomes,
How do we actually find them?
yes, how do we actually locate our specific Alexis among the billions of people online without spending our life savings on blind advertising?
Which brings us to what might be the most powerful paradigm shift in the entire book.
Yeah.
The secret is that you do not have to go out and find them one by one. They are already gathered together.
This blew my mind.
Me too. The book introduces a concept called the Dream 100, which Russell Brunson actually adapted from a legendary business consultant named Chet Holmes, who wrote The Ultimate Sales Machine.
Right. He took a corporate B2B concept and applied it to the internet.
Exactly. The biggest myth of the internet, and we hear this all the time from creators, is I need to generate traffic. We talk about traffic like it is electricity we have to synthesize from scratch.
Like we have to create it out of nothing.
Right. But you do not create traffic. The traffic already exists. Your dream customers are already out there right now staring at their screens. The secret is that they are already congregating around other people's platforms.
Think of it like this. Your job as an entrepreneur or a creator is not to build an audience from absolute zero. Your job is to identify the thought leaders, the brands, the podcasters, and the community managers who have already done the hard work of gathering your ideal customers into one place.
It's so much smarter.
There's a brilliant case study in the text about a guy named Dr. Woolner. He was a chiropractor, and he was struggling immensely to get patients into his clinic. He was doing the traditional local marketing grind, handing out flyers, maybe running a small local ad in the paper.
The slow way.
The incredibly slow way. Getting nowhere. He was trying to find patients one by one. His business completely turned around when he had this epiphany. He didn't need to find individual people with back pain. He needed to find the places online where health-conscious people in his area were already hanging out.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
He realized his ideal patients were already congregating in specific local Facebook groups dedicated to holistic health. They were already following certain local wellness influencers. They were already reading specific natural living blogs. Once he shifted his focus from finding individuals to infiltrating these existing congregations, his clinic exploded.
And it is not just for local service businesses either. The book tells the origin story of Quest Nutrition, the protein bar company.
Oh yeah, massive company.
Huge. When Tom Bilyeu and his partners started Quest, they were going up against massive corporate giants in the protein bar space. They did not have the millions of dollars required to buy Super Bowl commercials or traditional print ads in fitness magazines. They could not fight a war of attrition on traditional advertising.
They'd be crushed.
Crushed instantly. So what did they do? They've built a Dream 100 list. They identified exactly who their early adopters would be, hardcore fitness enthusiasts. Then they asked themselves, where are these people already congregating?
Where's their attention?
Exactly. They realized these people were obsessively following fitness influencers, bodybuilders, and athletes on YouTube and Instagram. Those influencers had already aggregated the exact audience Quest needed.
Right.
So instead of buying ads, Quest just sent boxes of free protein bars to these influencers. They didn't ask for a sponsored post. They just said, hey, we think we made the best tasting protein bar ever. If you agree, let your audience know. It was a massive, unprecedented success. They utilized the existing congregations to bypass the traditional gatekeepers entirely.
But, let's play devil's advocate for a second. That is an amazing story, but I have to push back a little.
Okay, push back.
That sounds great for Quest Nutrition because they had physical protein bars they could actually mail to people. It had intrinsic value. But let's go back to our hypothetical guy in his garage making custom guitar pedals. Or let's say someone listening right now is a freelance graphic designer, or they're writing a fantasy novel.
Right.
They can't afford to mail out free, expensive gear to Joe Rogan or massive influencers.
Yeah.
How does a regular person, without venture capital backing, actually build and use a Dream 100 list?
I love that you brought that up because the Dream 100 is not about sending physical bribes. It is an intelligence gathering operation. And the book gives a highly specific tactical breakdown of how anyone, even the graphic designer or the novelist, can build this map.
Okay, how?
You don't need a budget, you just need a spreadsheet and some time. Brunson recommends finding and documenting very specific numbers. You need to find 10 top websites or forums where your ideal customer hangs out. You need 15 active Facebook groups. You need 50 influencers they follow on social media. You need 30 podcasts they listen to. You need 40 email newsletters they subscribe to. You need 20 blogs they read. And you need 20 YouTube channels they watch.
Let's actually pause and look at those numbers for a second because they seem really specific. Why 40 email newsletters, but only 20 YouTube channels?
It comes down to the intimacy and the medium. Email newsletters are incredibly niche and directly land in a highly personal space, the inbox. It is easier to find 40 highly specific newsletters about, say, left-handed guitar techniques than it is to find 20 massive YouTube channels dedicated solely to that.
That makes sense.
Podcasts are similar. They create an incredibly deep parasocial relationship. When someone listens to a podcast, they have that host's voice in their ears for an hour a week while they commute or do the dishes. The trust there is immense.
It's very intimate.
Exactly. So if you are that guitar pedal maker, your Dream 100 isn't Joe Rogan. Your Dream 100 is the guy with a podcast that gets 2,000 downloads an episode, but every single one of those 2,000 people is a hardcore tone nerd who spends their disposable income on guitar gear.
Right. And once you fill out that spreadsheet with those 100 or so specific platforms, a profound shift happens. You are no longer navigating the internet blind. You have a literal treasure map. You know exactly where the attention of your entire market is focused.
That is the perfect way to phrase it, a treasure map. So for you listening, start building your own Dream 100 list today. In the text, they casually mention that doing this exercise is the equivalent of getting a $100,000 consulting session for free.
Really, it is.
Ask yourself, who does your Alexis admire? What podcasts is she listening to on her drive to work? What subreddits is she checking before she goes to sleep? Write them down.
Write them down today.
Because once we have mapped out our Dream 100, we face the next critical challenge. The people are congregated over there on someone else's platform. How do we legally and ethically siphon that traffic over to our own ideas? How do we get them to come to us?
And that brings us to what we can call the holy trinity of traffic. The book outlines 3 distinct methods for acquiring this attention. And understanding the hierarchy of these 3 is the difference between a business that thrives for decades and one that disappears in a month.
Okay, what are the 3?
The 3 types of traffic are traffic you earn, traffic you control, and traffic you own.
Okay, let's start with the first one. Traffic you earn. This is what most people think of when they hear organic marketing. This is the traffic you work your way into. You are not paying money. You are paying with your sweat equity and your time.
Right, it's the grind.
Exactly. It means you go to your Dream 100 list and you start genuinely engaging with them. You leave thoughtful, insightful comments on their YouTube videos, not spammy, buy my stuff comments, but real value. You review their podcasts, you become a great vocal customer of their product.
You're building a real relationship.
Yes, you invite them to be interviewed on your own blog or channel. The book references a famous networking rule from Harvey Mackay: dig your well before you're thirsty.
That's a great rule.
You cannot show up out of nowhere, email an influencer with 1 million followers, and ask them to promote your Kickstarter. You have to earn the relationship over time by being a positive force in their existing community.
Exactly. It requires a lot of patience. So the second type is traffic you control. If earned traffic is working your way in, controlled traffic is buying your way in. This is paid advertising.
The fast lane.
The fast lane. You go to Facebook, Google, or YouTube, and you literally pay them to show your message to the specific audiences of the people on your Dream 100 list. But the book goes beyond just basic ads.
What else does it cover?
It talks about a concept from Mark Joyner called integration marketing. This is where you might pay to have your banner appear on the exit pop-up of a partner's website. Or you negotiate to have your offer featured on the thank you page after someone buys a product from one of your Dream 100.
No, that's clever.
Why is it called traffic you control? Because it acts like a faucet. When you turn it on and pay money, the traffic flows immediately. When your credit card maxes out or you turn the campaign off, the traffic stops instantly.
Now, if we connect this to the bigger picture, here is the most vital, absolute make-or-break lesson of the entire deep dive.
Pay attention to this part.
If you take nothing else away, let it be this. The only goal, the singular purpose of all that traffic you earn through hard work and all that traffic you control by spending money is to convert it into the third category.
Traffic you own.
Traffic you own, the holy grail of business. This is your email list. This is your SMS text message list. These are the people who have willingly handed over their contact information and given you direct permission to speak to them.
Direct access.
Why is this the holy grail? Because once you own the traffic, you can market to them, provide value to them, and sell to them for free on your own terms forever.
And to really internalize why this is so critical, we need to look at the vulnerability of the first 2 types of traffic.
Right. I think the best way to understand it is a real estate analogy. Yeah. Relying only on traffic you earn and traffic you control is exactly like renting an apartment.
Renting, yeah.
When you build your entire business on your Instagram following or your YouTube subscribers, you are living in an apartment owned by Mark Zuckerberg or Google. And it is a beautiful apartment. The views are great. The traffic is flowing.
But you're just a tenant.
You are a tenant.
Mm-hmm.
And your landlord is completely ruthless. At any moment, without warning, the landlord can decide to triple your rent, meaning your ad costs skyrocket.
Or they just kick you out.
Exactly. Even worse, they change the algorithm, flag your account for a minor policy violation, and literally change the locks on you in the middle of the night. You wake up and your business is gone. Renting is inherently fragile.
But traffic you own. Your email list is like buying the house outright in cash. No one can ever take your email list away from you. If Instagram get banned tomorrow, or if Google's search algorithm completely de-indexes your website, it does not matter.
You're safe.
You still have the email addresses of your 50,000 or 5,000 or even 500 best customers. You can send an email the next morning and instantly generate revenue or read engagement. It is your true asset. It provides absolute security in a digital landscape that is constantly shifting.
So, what does this all mean? That analogy perfectly sets up the mechanical problem we have to solve next. If we know that people are wandering around in these rented platforms, scrolling through Facebook, how do we actually convince them to leave the party?
How do you get them out the door?
Right. How do we get them to stop what they are doing, click our link, and hand over their precious email address so they become traffic we own? This does not happen by accident. You are fighting against billion-dollar algorithms designed to keep them on the platform.
And to win, you need a very specific psychological weapon. The book calls this framework the hook, the story, and the offer.
Hook, story, offer.
If you are an entrepreneur or a creator, those three words need to become the lens through which you view everything you create. Let's break them down. The hook is the pattern interrupt.
Like we talked about with interruption traffic.
Exactly. People are in a trance-like state, their thumb just flicking up the screen, getting quick hits of dopamine. They're completely numb to normal content. Your hook is the visual, the shocking headline, the weird camera angle, or the provocative question in the first 3 seconds that physically makes their thumb stop scrolling.
If you do not have a powerful hook, it does not matter if your product cures all human suffering. You are invisible. They will scroll right past you.
And once you have violently interrupted their pattern and bought yourself a few seconds of attention with the hook, you have to immediately transition into the story.
The story is where the magic happens.
This is where you build rapport. You cannot just yell, "Buy my stuff." You have to explain why they should care. This goes back to entering the conversation in their mind. You tell a story that demonstrates you understand their pain.
You build what Brunson calls an epiphany bridge.
Yes, an
Yeah.
epiphany bridge. Walking them through the realization you had that led to your product. The story humanizes you. It shifts you from a faceless corporation trying to take their money into a guide who is offering them a way out of their problem.
And finally, the offer. The hook gets their attention, the story builds the desire, and the offer is the irresistible call to action that gets them to actually move.
And a crucial note here. In the context of building your own traffic, the offer is usually not a $1,000 product.
No, definitely not yet.
The offer is a trade. You are saying, I have this incredibly valuable thing, a free ebook, an exclusive video training, a physical checklist, and I will give it to you completely for free right now in exchange for your email address. The perceived value of the offer has to be so disproportionately high that they feel stupid not giving you their email address.
There is an observation in the text about this framework that I think is the ultimate diagnostic tool for any business. The author states as a hard rule, if anything in your business is currently failing, it is never a mysterious market force. It is always a problem with either the hook, the story, or the offer.
Always. Think about it.
Right. If you are running ads and literally no one is clicking on them, your product isn't necessarily bad. Your hook is just weak. You aren't stopping the scroll.
And if people are clicking the ad, getting to your website, but leaving after 2 seconds.
Your hook worked, but your story failed to connect with them.
Exactly. And if they read your whole page, stay till the end of the video, but still don't give you their email or buy, your offer simply wasn't irresistible enough.
It completely demystifies the failure process. And understanding this hook, story, offer dynamic is especially critical because of how quickly the internet moves. Because interruption traffic relies on pattern interrupts, there is a phenomenon called hook fatigue.
Oh, hook fatigue is brutal.
The first person who used a weird meme as an ad hook crushed it. But once everyone started using memes, the scrollers' brains adapted. They stopped seeing the meme as an interruption and started seeing it as background noise. The pattern became the norm.
Therefore, as a marketer, your offer might stay the exact same for 5 years, but you have to invent a new hook every single week. It is a constant arms race for attention.
And this constant arms race, this terrifying reliance on the platforms to distribute our hooks, brings us to the darkest, most cautionary part of the book.
It gets scary here.
Why are we so obsessed with converting people to own traffic? Because history proves that the tech platforms we rely on are completely ruthless, and they will wipe you out.
The book details a historical event that every digital entrepreneur whispers about like a ghost story. It was called the Google slap.
The Google slap.
In the early 2000s, an entire ecosystem of businesses was built on cheap Google search ads and easy organic rankings. People were making millions of dollars selling products because they had figured out how to game the Google system.
But Google realized the user experience was degrading because the search results were full of spammy marketers.
Exactly. So one day, Google deployed a massive algorithm update. Literally overnight, businesses that were getting hundreds of thousands of visitors a day woke up to zero traffic.
Overnight.
The cost to run their ads went from pennies to $10 a click in 24 hours. Multi-million-dollar empires vanished in a single week. Employees were fired, bankruptcies were filed, all because they had built their mansions on rented land.
And Brunson warns that this is not just ancient history. He introduces a concept he calls the Thanos snap. It is a pop culture reference to the Marvel villain Thanos, who famously snapped his fingers and wiped out half of all life in the universe.
Right.
Brunson is warning that Mark Zuckerberg, or the head of TikTok, or the CEO of whatever platform is hot tomorrow, possesses that exact same power. With one minor tweak to the code, they can enact the Thanos snap and wipe out the organic reach of 50% of small businesses, usually to force them to buy more ads or to favor massive corporate brands.
It is actually the predictable life cycle of every single social platform. First, a new platform launches. To attract creators and users, they offer insane free organic exposure. If you post a video, 1 million people see it for free, it is a gold rush.
Then what?
Second comes forced adoption. Everyone feels like they have to be on the platform because the reach is so good. Third, once the platform has captured the market, they slowly reduce organic reach. You start noticing your posts are only being seen by 10% of your followers.
We've all seen that happen.
Fourth, it shifts to pay to play. If you want your own followers to see your post, you have to boost it with money. And finally, the ad costs get driven up so high by massive corporations that small businesses are priced out completely. The platform becomes just like traditional television.
Now, here is where it gets really interesting and honestly a little ironic. We are reading this cutting-edge book about the internet, algorithms, Facebook ads, and digital funnels.
Yeah.
Yet, to survive this terrifying Thanos snap, the author reveals that the real ultimate secrets of traffic do not come from Silicon Valley programmers. They come from direct mail marketers from the 1900s.
Guys who wrote physical letters.
Guys who put stamps on them and mailed them via the post office. Guys who died before the internet was even invented. How does that make any sense? How does a guy writing a letter in 1920 teach me how to survive a TikTok algorithm change?
It makes perfect sense when you separate tactics from strategy.
Okay, unpack that.
Tactics die daily. The exact layout of the Facebook Ads Manager changes every 3 weeks. The specific duration of a viral short-form video changes every month. If your entire business model is based on a technical loophole in an algorithm, your business will die the second the loophole closes.
That makes sense.
But strategy, specifically human psychology, are evergreen. A human being living in 1920 had the exact same fundamental fears, insecurities, and desires for health, wealth, and relationships as a human being scrolling on their phone today.
They just had a different medium.
Exactly. Those direct mail pioneers were the original masters of the hook, story, and offer. They had to figure out how to write a headline on a piece of paper so compelling that a person wouldn't throw it in the trash. They had to use words to enter the conversation in the customer's mind. We're just using pixels and video instead of ink and paper. The psychological triggers that make a human being say, yes, I need this, have not changed in a century.
So relying on that evergreen psychology, the book gives us a 6-step fill your funnel framework. This is your survival guide for any platform, past, present, or future.
Let's walk through it.
Step 1. Understand the platform's history and its life cycle. Know if you were in the golden age of free reach or the pay-to-play phase.
Step 2. Find your Dream 100 on that specific platform. Who holds the attention there?
Step 3. Create a publishing plan. You have to consistently show up.
Step 4. Work your way in. This is the earn traffic, engage, add value, build relationships.
Step 5. Buy your way in. Run the controlled traffic ads to target those Dream 100 audiences.
And step 6, the most crucial. Fill your funnel. Every piece of content, every ad, every interview must be designed with a hook, story, and offer to extract that traffic off the platform and turn it into your owned traffic email list.
If you rigorously follow those 6 steps, it does not matter if a platform dies tomorrow, your business is insulated.
Exactly. So up to this point, we have built a really solid foundation. We have mapped our Dream 100, we have deployed our hooks, and we are converting rented attention into owned assets.
But as your business grows, you inevitably hit a ceiling, right?
You do. You eventually exhaust the low-hanging fruit. You reach all the followers of your specific niche influencers. The big question becomes, how do you scale? How do you take a niche product and sell it to the rest of the world? This introduces the final major concept of the deep dive, traffic temperature.
But wait, before we even talk about scaling to the masses, there is a massive psychological roadblock that stops people from even starting this publishing process.
Oh, the imposter syndrome.
Yes. The idea of publishing content, of putting yourself out there to attract this traffic, terrifies most people. They suffer from massive imposter syndrome. They think, I'm not an expert yet. I haven't made $1 million. I don't have a PhD. Why would anyone listen to me?
It's so common. But the book borrows a concept from Gary Vaynerchuk that cures this instantly. Document, don't create.
Document, don't create.
It is incredibly liberating. You do not have to position yourself as an infallible guru who has all the answers. The internet is already full of fake gurus, and people are exhausted by them.
So exhausted.
Instead, just document your journey. If you're a graphic designer trying to start an agency, just document your messy process of figuring it out. Post about the client who fired you. Post about the logo design you struggled with. People are drawn to vulnerability and authenticity.
They love watching an underdog figure it out.
Your audience will follow you because they relate to your journey, not because you are perfect. And as you document that journey, your reach will expand and you will start encountering different temperatures of traffic.
Right, traffic temperature. This concept comes from the legendary copywriter Eugene Schwartz, and it is the key to scaling your message. Schwartz categorized the audience into 3 temperatures based entirely on their level of awareness.
Break those down.
First, you have cold traffic. These people are either totally unaware they even have a problem or they are problem aware, meaning they know their back hurts, but they have no idea that a chiropractor could fix it.
Right.
Second, you have warm traffic. They are solution aware. They know chiropractic adjustments exist and can help, but they don't know who you are.
Okay.
And third, you have hot traffic. These people are product aware. They know you, they trust you, they know exactly what your clinic offers, and they are basically just waiting for you to send them a discount code so they can buy.
Understanding this is vital because the most catastrophic, money-burning mistake you can make is speaking to cold traffic using a vocabulary designed for hot traffic.
Oh, absolutely. The book has this analogy that I absolutely love, the mall food court analogy. Let's play this out. Imagine you are standing in the middle of a massive mall food court on a Saturday afternoon.
Okay, packed with people.
There are 1,000 people there eating pizza, arguing with their kids, totally distracted. This is the ultimate cold traffic. They do not know you, and they do not care about your business. Now imagine you stand up on a table and scream at the top of your lungs, who in here wants to grow a company using internet sales funnels?
What happens?
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. People look at you like you are a lunatic, they roll their eyes, and they go back to eating their pizza. Why? Because you just pitched a highly specific, product-aware solution to a crowd that isn't even problem-aware. You use technical jargon sales funnels. That means nothing to them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But let's rewind. You stand on the same table in front of the exact same cold traffic crowd. But this time you adjust your language to match their temperature. You speak to the core universal desire of wealth.
The broader desire.
Right. You yell, who in here would like to have a website that automatically makes money for them while they sleep?
Huh?
Suddenly half the food court stops chewing and raises their hands.
Because you hit a nerve?
They do not know what a sales funnel is. They don't know about conversion rates or email sequences, and they don't care. All they know is the pain of working a 9-to-5 and the desire for financial freedom.
You hook the cold traffic by speaking directly to their broad pain and desire.
Yeah.
Once you have their attention, then your story takes over, educates them, warms them up, and eventually introduces the sales funnel as the logical solution.
That translation process is the hallmark of a master marketer. You have to act as a bridge. So for you listening, I challenge you to ruthlessly audit how you talk about your own ideas or your own product. Are you standing in the food court yelling technical jargon?
Are you talking about the complex algorithm of your software, when the customer just wants to know if it will save them an hour a day?
Are you talking about the intricate stitching on your custom guitar strap when the musician just wants to know if it will stop their shoulder from aching during a 3-hour gig?
You must adjust your language. If the audience is cold, speak only of the pain and the desired outcome. As they move closer to you and become warm, you can start educating them on the mechanism. And only when they are hot do you pitch the specific features of the product.
So as we wrap up, let's look at the incredible journey we have just taken. We started by completely shattering the field of dreams myth. We realized that to get traffic, we have to stop being obsessed with our product and become obsessively dedicated to our customer avatar, to Alexis.
We mapped the internet, understanding the difference between the searchers looking for immediate pain relief and the scrollers looking for entertainment.
We stopped trying to create traffic from scratch and instead learned to locate the existing congregations by building our Dream 100 list. We walked through the holy trinity of traffic, learning to use earned and controlled traffic for one singular purpose.
To capture the holy grail of owned traffic.
We armed ourselves with the hook, story, and offer framework. We learned how to survive the inevitable algorithm crashes by relying on century-old human psychology rather than tech loopholes. And finally, we mastered the art of translation, learning to adjust our message to the exact temperature of our audience.
It is a profound, comprehensive system. It shifts you from hoping for attention to strategically manufacturing it. But before we sign off, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought to chew on. Something that builds on everything we've discussed.
What is it?
If you successfully apply these secrets, and you will if you do the work, if you master the psychology of the hook, the story, and the offer, and you successfully capture the owned traffic of thousands or maybe even hundreds of thousands of people, you will have achieved massive power.
Wow, yeah.
But with that power comes a profound responsibility. In a digital economy, attention is the single most valuable currency on earth. Once you own their attention, how will you treat it?
That's the real question.
Will you view your email list simply as an ATM machine, extracting value and burning out their trust? Or will you treat that owned traffic as a long-term relationship, ensuring that every time you enter their inbox, you are enriching their lives? The entrepreneurs who build legacy companies are the ones who realize that owning the traffic is a privilege, and creating value for that list is a daily requirement.
That is a phenomenal point to end on, because ultimately real traffic is just real trust. Listen, if you found value in this deep dive today, I want to casually but very directly ask you to hit the subscribe button. And I'm not just saying that to boost our numbers.
No, it goes beyond that.
Subscribing actually helps other people. When you subscribe, it signals to the algorithm that this was a valuable, deep, meaningful conversation. It tells the machine to push this deep dive out to other learners, creators, and entrepreneurs who are sitting in their garage right now, struggling in silence, and desperately need to hear this framework to get their ideas seen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you want to dive even deeper into this material, we have something great for you. If you want to listen to the entire audiobook of Traffic Secrets completely for free, just check out the description below. We have put all the exact details on how you can access that right there.
Your dream customers are already out there congregating.
They are waiting for you.
It's time to go find them.